It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Hello, and welcome to Lexi's Wellness Warriors. I am your host, Lexi Galbraith, your personal cheerleader and human sparkler. This podcast is aimed at providing motivation, inspiration, and support to help you live your best life. It's my goal to bring some hope and positivity into your day. On our journey together, I will be sharing my experiences as well as those of other amazing humans. I'm a chronic pain and wellness warrior, school teacher, coach, personal trainer, fitness instructor, fur mom, and much more. There's absolutely nothing I love more than supporting people in achieving their goals and dreams. Lexi's Wellness Warriors evolved from my passion and desire to help people achieve their health and wellness goals so they can live their best lives. I do so by using a holistic approach that centers on the body, mind, and soul. I have firsthand experience of living with chronic illness as well as dealing with injuries and chronic pain. There were times in my chronic pain and wellness journey where I felt alone and hopeless. I want people to know that they aren't alone. They deserve to be happy and they can achieve anything they put their minds and efforts to. Here's a bit more about my story. When I was 16, I was diagnosed with irritable bowel disease. Then at 23, I was diagnosed with lupus. I was finishing up my undergrad degree, helping to open up a clothing store, and also working out 5 days a week. I started to experience extreme fatigue, joint pain, and at times limited mobility. I figured it was just a late onset muscle soreness and that it would eventually go away. I also had a strange butterfly-like rash that came and went. After several tests and visits to the doctor, as well as a referral to a rheumatologist, I was diagnosed with lupus. I was 23 years old and felt like I was trapped in the body of a 90-year-old. Simple things like holding a cup or carrying a bag of groceries was painful and challenging. I also had several hospital visits due to flares. I even remember one time being in the hospital and having to ask my friend if she could cut my meat for me because I couldn't hold a knife. That was such a humbling experience. The first few months of dealing with my lupus diagnosis, I had several intense flares. During that time, I was angry and resentful, and I questioned why this happened to me. I let myself feel the feels and then decided that I didn't want to live in a perpetual state of anger and bitterness. That's just not who I am. So I sought out ways to help me not just survive, but thrive in spite of my disease. I increased my knowledge of proper nutrition and exercise, explored various strategies on how to live with chronic pain and deal with depression and anxiety. I listened to audiobooks and podcasts on health and mindset and researched methods of growth, meditation, and exercise modifications. I've since managed to keep my lupus under control for the most part with much fewer flares than in the past. Then 7.5 years ago, I was injured in a car accident. Although my injuries from the accident weren't outwardly apparent, there was significant damage. The toll on my body and mind was incredibly traumatic. From the moment of the accident and in the weeks and months that followed, I felt like my life as I knew it was over. I was facing the very possible reality of never being able to dance, hike, kayak, work, or even sit to watch a movie again. There were many times where I was in so much pain that being in my own body was torture. Nothing helped, and all I could do was cry out in pain. In those moments of intense pain, it was hard to think, hard to form words, hard to have any hope. All I wanted was for the pain to stop. Eventually, in the moments where the pain wasn't overriding my thoughts, I sought out different modalities and found practitioners to help me navigate my chronic pain. I worked hard to move through the cloud and fog of being in a constant state of pain. As I continued to work on my accident rehabilitation, I was finally getting ready to do a gradual return to work. Then I got sick, and it was discovered that I had collagenous colitis, and I ended up being housebound for almost 8 months. There was a point it was so bad that I contemplated buying adult diapers. I worked with my doctors, worked on my physical and mental well-being, and luckily, I was eventually able to get my collagenous colitis under control. Through all of these situations, having a mindset of seeing the lessons in the adversity and appreciating the small steps in my recovery made a huge difference. I worked on things I could control to help me reclaim my power and autonomy that had been stripped from me. There continue to be ups and downs, and I'm still on a chronic illness, chronic pain, and wellness journey. Each day I strive to be the best I can be and to help as many people as possible. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.